Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos. Parshas Baloscha in America, in Eretz Yisrael. Parshas Nosai in America. I got to apologize. I wasn't thinking, and I prepared something for Parshas Baloscha. The truth is, it's a universal message, and it applies to every parsha. It applies to every moment, to every day in life. It comes out of Parshas Baloscha, but it's something that is shaykh to everyone. Next week, I'll be a little more mindful and try to get something that straddles two parshios. But for now, let's just look at events that happen. We're talking about Midbar. We're talking about traveling through the Midbar. We're talking about all the events that are happening to the Jewish people. We have to wonder how it's possible that a generation that saw the Makos, that saw Kriyas Yamsuf, the splitting of the sea, that saw all the amazing thing happen to the Jewish people, how they saw how HaKadosh Baruch Hu took care of them by giving them the man and took care of them with the Anani HaKavod. They got man every single day. You have to wonder, how was it possible that they became a generation of such complainers, that they kvetch so loudly? How is that shaykh? So I'll tell you, it's an amazing thing, that if you look at the parasha, you see that the very beginning of the parasha of Baaloscha starts Baaloscha Saneros, that when you raise up the lamps, Chazal are telling us the flame had to be held until it rose on its own. And what Chazal are intimating to, and what the Torah is telling us, is that gratitude starts by paying attention long enough for the light to register. You know, we're running around, we're moving on, we're busy, we're bouncing off the walls. And we often don't have a chance to stop and to think and to consider. Look at what's happening to me. Look at what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing for me. Look at what's happening in my life. Look at what my life is really like. Aaron stands there until the flame catches. And what the Torah is telling me is that that's how we reach a level of Hakaras Hatov. You got to stop and wait for the flame to catch. You got to look at the fire and recognize what's burning in front of you. You got to take a moment and realize what's happening around you. You know, the opposite of gratitude is not kvetching. You know what the opposite of gratitude is? The opposite of gratitude is not stopping long enough to see the light, not stopping long enough to smell the roses. And by definition, when you're just moving and banging into things and you're going from thing to thing and event to event, and you don't stop and analyze and think and wonder and consider and feel, then of course you're not going to be grateful. And of course you're going to be miserable. That's the opposite of gratitude. The opposite of gratitude is not taking the moment to think and appreciate and realize what you have. You know, Torah tells us, and we were like complainers. Who's gonna bring us the meat? Where's the beef? It's shocking. You have manna, you have food from heaven, you have protection, you have God's presence, and yet they feel like they're deprived. So Rashi says, because they weren't looking at the big picture. Because being ungrateful isn't always a lack of bracha. It's losing sight of what is already present. You know, the manna was daily gratitude training. Because you couldn't stockpile it, you gathered what you needed. Tomorrow you had to rebuild your trust. You went to sleep at night not knowing what was going to be tomorrow and whether there was definitely going to be something tomorrow. It didn't allow you to take it for granted. It didn't allow you to make an assumption that, you know what, everything is great. Everything is going to be the way it's going to be. Every single day you had to wonder, am I going to be the recipient of a gift today? And that's why it was such a terrible tragedy. Because in the face of all of this, we still said, again, more, another one. The more regular brachas become, the easier it is to stop seeing it. And that's the message of the mun. That when it becomes regular, when it becomes something that you're used to, when it becomes something that becomes the norm, you stop seeing in it the awesomeness, the craziness of it. That's what happens with life. You go day after day, you're healthy. Day after day, you have your family, your kids are cute. Life is good, you got a job. And you just make an assumption that that's the way it's always going to be. My parents are always going to be there. My life is always going to be the way it is. And you start to take it for granted. Moshe Rabbeinu is an incredible leader of the Jewish people. Even Moshe Rabbeinu went through this. Moshe Rabbeinu went through a moment and he said, "Can I carry these people?" He says, "I was never meant to carry all this alone." Even Moshe needed help. And acknowledging the fact that he needs a Kodesh Baruch Hu, that also is Hakar Satov. That's also gratitude. That's a realization that, you know what, I've got a big responsibility and I don't take it for granted. Sometimes gratitude means thanking Hashem not only for the outcomes, but for the people that He puts around us. We see the section of Vayhi bin Soa separated by two upside down nuns, so that it makes a break between the Puranias, between the terrible tragedies. But what does it mean, makes a break? It didn't make a break between the terrible tragedies because it didn't happen that way. It happened tragedy, tragedy, tragedy. So we write it in the Torah with these upside down nuns that makes a break between them, but that's not really a break between them. Yeah, it is, because it allows you to stop and to think and to realize, whoa, I'm getting into a pattern. I'm starting to see the glass half empty. I'm starting to see negative. Whoa, let me stop for a second. God is here. It's not just regular, it's godly. It's awesome. It's amazing. And when you stop and you think and you consider, then you realize how awesome things are, not how terrible they are. We just have to make sure that we don't take things for granted and we don't get used to them. End of the parsha, Miriam the Neviah. She's a Heliga Neviah. She's very holy. She sees Moshe's wife. She says, "What's going on?" Moshe's wife not so happy. My husband never comes home. He's always in the office. Really? Why? Because he always has to be ready for God. What? Yeah, that's what Nevi'im have to do. What are you talking about, says Miriam. I'm a Navi. My brother's a Navi. My other brother, Aaron. We don't have to be ready all the time for God. We live a normal life. We're at home. Ah, that brother, I think he needs a little talking to. And because of what she said about her brother, it was considered as Lashon Hara. It was not malicious. She wasn't trying to hurt him. She wasn't trying to be negative. But what she did was she took it for granted. She took his kedusha for granted. She took his specialness for granted. She took his awesomeness because she was used to him. She was his sister. He was a bro. They were together all the time. He was regular to her. He was a normal person. Because of that, she took it for granted. And that's the message that keeps coming through this pasha. Don't take life for granted. Don't take people for granted. Parshas Ba'aloischa asks us. The trek in the desert asks us. Can we keep seeing the gifts after they become familiar? Can we notice the manna on an ordinary Tuesday morning? Can we look at a piece of bread and we say that that bread is mun? Mun is bread. It's the same thing. It's awesome. It's crazy. Aaron teaches us to hold the flame until we see it. The complainers teach us what happens when we stop seeing, when we stop appreciating. The whole parsha is the struggle between noticing brachas and taking them for granted. So Talmud once asked his Rebbe, he said, why do people feel inspired by miracles but lose it so quickly? So the Rebbe said, because a miracle changes what you see. Gratitude changes how you see it. That's Ba'aleischa. The miracles were there. The question was whether they would continue to see them. The generation in the desert had manna from heaven. We have manna every single day. Our challenge is whether we notice it, whether we see it, whether we appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. The brachos are there. The question is, are your eyes open wide enough to be able to see them and feel them and appreciate them? Have an awesome, amazing Shabbos.